Okay, I just got back from shooting. I'm a little grubby. Went to a couple places without taking pictures. Yeah, I actually go out and take pictures. Go figure that one. I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to let you determine. And by the way, if anybody wants the links for these pictures, send me an email and I will send you the links. And if those links get scrubbed, it's okay because I've got screen grabs. My statement is that Nikon themselves do not like, this is a portrait shot that I did. Some people actually said I didn't take portrait shots with that new Nikon lens. These are straight out of camera. By the way, I have my mouse upside down. Straight out of camera, these are really boring, I know. There's some bokeh, look at the bokeh. Really flat, really horrible. It gets a lot worse when the background is bright too. That's when the lens gets really nasty. My position to you is that Nikon themselves don't like this lens. Oh, that's a really bold statement. What does that mean? Nikon has a very, very few ambassadors, okay? Now, Nikon sent, and this isn't the lens. Nikon sent the ambassador out with that lens, took some shots. They're on Nikon's own website. Now, me and a few hundred other people caught on to a neat little scandal where the images were swap-a-rooed, not with cropped and edited pictures, with radically altered pictures. I mean, there's some serious photoshopping going on. I mean, like, radically serious. Not just some or a little bit, but a lot. Please send me an email and I'll give you a link to these pictures. Now, this is not a slant against the photographer. The photographer is right. Now, I'm going to get in the mind of somebody that I've never met, and I'm going to let you make your own decision on this. If someone submits these pictures as representative of the lens, and Nikon posts the pictures like, here's the lens, okay, that's fine. And the ambassador, and there are very few Nikon ambassadors, takes those images and doesn't like, well, I'm going to edit them a little bit, do a little cropping, you know, one guy's got some nose hair, I'm going to edit that out. That's okay. No, we are going to radically, the color saturation, please email me for the links. When you see them, you'll just drop a brick on your own feet. That's a southern expression. You know, you'll poop a brick. The original images, now the composition and the photographer is fine. The original images from that lens are so horrible. Now the Nikon ambassador took those images and radically altered them and then posted them. This is all well and fine. If you to get a decent looking image, and this is Nikon's own ambassador, to make the image look decent, if you have to radically alter it so much, then that is de facto a bad portrait lens. Now here's a really good portrait lens, okay? It's a low element count lens. I've proven time and again that this has better micro contrast. And of course people chirp and they say, oh, well, you know, they tested it. No, these are straight out of camera images. You know, I don't know what people are going to bitch about. The evidence is right here. If anybody wants to go test it themselves, you go rent the damn lens and this lens and you test it yourself. Now these are just straight up high definition conversions. This is the crappy lens on the right, and here's this lens on the left, the f1.4 f2 DC. Now you see, the way it works is that I don't give a damn what lens you buy because I don't make a penny off of it. If you buy no lens, you buy 100 of the expensive lenses. I don't make a penny. Don't make a penny. I want to ask you what your thoughts are. Now, like I said, email me for the links to these images. What do you think? If a Nikon ambassador who took these shots and then he submitted them to Nikon, here's representative shots from this lens. Okay, Nikon used them. That's all well and fine. And then let's just forget about the swap-a-roo, which is actually quite important. Did a swap-a-roo from the original image to the altered image. That in and of itself is no bueno. But let's just forget about that a second. If just Joe Blow is like, here's the image this lens produced, and it's this Nikon ambassador who's not Joe Blow, he de facto works for Nikon. Might not be a full-time job, obviously. I don't know what Nikon pays Nikon ambassadors. It's probably not much. I mean, it's probably like a part-time job. You get free gear and, you know, super awesome service and some other little perks. I mean, I don't know. I don't care what it pays. It doesn't make any damn difference. But if you have to radically, I mean, the images are so radically altered. My question out there to all the little cockroaches on the photography forums, and there are a lot of them. Some of them are some gigantic cockroaches. And they're trying to rationalize the purchase of this plastic Chinese chew toy from Nikon for $2,200. And by the way, you know, do you think the guy that owns 15 cameras and nearly 200 lenses, you think I can't afford a $2,200 lens? Are you smoking crack? I bought 7 lenses last month alone. I actually saw some people saying, well, he's just envious. You know, it's just pure envy. You think I can't afford to buy the lens? Do you really think that's the case? The guy that retired when he was 30 years old and owns 2 houses. I live really simply. The guy that bought 7 lenses last month alone, do you really think that I'm envious of this expensive lens? And it's just like, I secretly desire it, but I can't afford it, and that's why I'm putting it down. Are you really stupid enough to believe that nonsense? Tell me, do you think, you know, tell me. Do you really believe that? I know you people don't. I'm talking about other people. He's just envious. He can't afford it. Yeah, sure I can't. I want to know what your opinion on this one is. If the Nikon ambassador himself doesn't like crop it and do a little this, a little that, but like radically like wah, all over the place with the image from that lens. And his final product, he's got some serious Photoshop skills. I think even he himself admits that he's like one of the first teachers or beta testers on Photoshop or something. He's got some serious Photoshop skills. You know, that's great, but that lens don't come with Photoshop skills. When you buy a lens, those Photoshop skills don't come with a lens, you know. It's like, I bought this lens, you know, I want to know what its output is. And I don't blame the Nikon ambassador for wanting the image to look a lot better. The Nikon ambassador himself is saying, you know, I don't like this image. I don't need to like do a little cropping, a little this, a little that. I mean, I need to radically wah this in Photoshop. That is, you know, the images are right there. Unless they get removed, but that's okay because I've got screen grabs, you know? That's alright. If they get removed, I've already got them. The full resolution shots, by the way, are still on Nikon China's website, the really, really huge ones. Now, the ambassador removed the super huge pictures from that lens, and he allowed no downloading. Usually you can download any picture off of Flickr, but that's okay because they're still on Nikon China. And if they get removed, that's okay. I'll still got another link for those. Well, what do you think about that? You know, if the Nikon ambassador rightly and intelligently goes, I want this picture to look good. You know, this is what the lens and camera spit out, but I need to radically alter it. That means that that lens is what we call, what's the technical word? There's some really technical word for it. Oh, it's bad. Bad. B-A-D. The lens is bad. The lens is bad. Now, you didn't have to crop it a little bit, do a little bit of editing. You radically shifted that image way the hell from over here to way the hell over here. The pictures are proof positive of that. Even on one of the images, to make it seem like the image has a little more depth of field, I actually saw, and everybody else noticed it. I didn't notice it first. Everybody saw where eyebrows were drawn in, which makes really fine lines. And when you look at the picture, you think, well, this lens has a different depth of field than what it really has. And the trick to that was just blowing the picture up to like 400% and photoshopping in a few fine, very sharp hairs. But that had nothing to do with the lens or the camera. That was actually drawn, probably with a tablet, you know, in the computer, and, you know, it was drawn into the image. Yeah. That means that lens is bad. When the Nikon ambassador himself takes an image and radically shifts it from here to way the hell over here, and the way he shifted it, it looks pretty good. I've seen better. However, no matter how much he messes with it in Photoshop, you know what you can't add? You can't add micro contrast. You can't do it. Can't do it. That means that lens is bad. The ultimate irreducible fact is that Nikon themselves, and by Nikon themselves, I mean the ambassadors that are connected to Nikon, don't like that image because all the images that are given as test shots that are up on Nikon.com, they are radically altered to look good, and he did make them look good. That means that's a bad lens, okay? Yeah, that is exactly what that means. Not this lens, the other lens, which I did a bunch of test shots of. Okay? You buy whatever you want. If you want to buy an expensive, horrible lens, your prerogative. Do I care? I care if people piss their money away on horrible stuff that, you know, they could be saving their money on and get something like less than half the price that's a lot better. That's my motive, is actually helping somebody. Oh no, it's to drive traffic to your YouTube site. Really? I've never asked anybody to subscribe or like never asked anybody to subscribe to me or like my videos. So they can take that BS and stick it somewhere in a dark place too. Yeah. Bye.